Okay, hey everyone, Brandie Kristle Furniss here at the Body Oracle. I wanted to pop on and talk about reprogramming, holographic reprogramming of the crystal matrix in the human body field. And what is that? Well, our crystal matrix can be related to the fascia, and underneath the microscope, our muscles are crystalline in nature. And we've heard the term muscle memory, like muscle holds patterns and water holds memory and patterns. And so, because we are 70 to 80% water, depending on who you ask, we need to recognize that we are connected deeply with that source and that crystalline biophotonic nature that we are, as well as an electromagnetic field. And when our electromagnetic field is strong, our energies, our thoughts, emotions are looping and weaving, and we're in the flow with life. Things feel balanced, things feel stable. We're able to recalibrate and pivot in our lives when we need to. What happens when we have a lot of rumination and we think about a lot of negative things, or we have trauma, past abuse experiences, or things that we've taken on from society and from other people? Our thoughts can affect the nature of the body because thoughts are things. And when energy follows intention, the things that we focus on the most, the things that we act on, the things that we're always thinking about, will ultimately somehow come into our reality. And there's so many different ways I can speak even on that topic and the nature of following patterns and watching things unfold in reality. But we want to talk about the light body and the sound body and that electromagnetic field of the aura, because these are the things that help shape our reality, like our lives, our bodies. And so if our energy field is clear and, like I said, is in the flow, we're going to manifest in our physical reality well-being. And when we focus on well-being, there's so many things that go to that, our hydration, our nutrition, and our movement. And I feel that gentle movement and stretching is really important, just as much as vigorous dancing or exercise or weight training, but all of these things in balance. And so I started tracking imbalances in the crystal matrix of the human body field in 2012. I mean, I might have been doing it prior to that, just not knowing it. I started doing it in a way 2012, 2013, 2014, where once I locate these energetic blockages or stagnancies or even heavy, dense emotions that I was experiencing or people that I was working with were experiencing, we work with different vibrations and frequencies and sound and even light to shift that reality, to shift that vibration, because we're focusing our energy and our intention on clearing up those blockages and creating more openness and flow. We are essentially clearing the way on purpose. What are we clearing the way for? More happiness, more joy, more fruitful abundance in our relationships, in our life's work, in our creativity. When we're getting down on ourselves and we're not gentle with ourselves, we're overthinking, we're overanalyzing, and we're nitpicking every little thing, we're micromanaging our lives, that's not leaving any room for that dynamic flow of just being embodied, just being your human self and allowing that flow. And so I've spent over a decade learning to refine my skills and this expertise through these different modalities that I work with to balance their energy systems, to help clear and revitalize your meridians that manage your muscles, help clear the pathway with the chakras so that your light body opens up. And when you can harmonize with your light and sound body, you feel more grounded and stable in your body. You feel more balanced. And so essentially we look over the aura, we look over the biofield, and we locate where those densities and blockages are within not only the muscle memory, but it can be in bones, it can be in organs, and it can be in those layers of the electromagnetic field of the aura within and around you. And I've refined my skills to be able to locate those blockages so that we can use energy medicine modalities and vibrational healing frequencies from nature to support health and well-being in the body. It not only helps harmonize you, but your relationships, your environment, your home, wherever you go, you are that lighthouse. When you can create that peaceful, stable, energetic frequency within yourself, then you are able to emit that more often. But it is a practice, because even myself, I still get down. I still have grievances. I go through challenges, because we all do. There's so many different things, like we could eat something that could throw us off, or we could get in an argument with someone that we love about, and that can cause us to have inner turmoil when we're not able to fully express ourselves in healthy ways. So we take all of these pieces and bring them together in a way that looks like a full bioscan assessment. And then I'm tracking out those imbalances to find out, okay, what was the last thing that went off balance for you? It could have been something recent. It could have even been something a decade ago that then caused all of these other things to spiral. So we're going to track all the way to the root cause of that disturbance, of whatever you're needing to clear and work on at that time. So my mentor mentioned something to me that's coming to my mind about, like, everyone has all of these sticky notes all over the mirror or something, right? And it's like you can only work on so many sticky notes at a time. And so that's where, like, I come in to help you with your priorities and find out, helping to sort, like, where are these imbalances coming from? Where are these pains and these aches coming from? Because it's not always you. Like, sometimes it's something in your environment. Sometimes, because energy accumulates on things. And if we're not constantly clearing and cleansing and doing our meditations or our prayers or our affirmations or our mantras or playing those frequency vibrations in our home, we can bring things into our home or experiences that cause chaos. And I have so many stories about things like that, and I'll get into a couple of those stories. I just wanted to talk a little bit about one aspect of my life's work, and that is helping you to rebalance and restore your electromagnetic field, checking for any holes, rips, tears, strengthening those energetic boundaries so that the elements of who and what you are can reconfigure, transconfigure, realign, reassimilate, whatever word that you want to use, that's going to trigger something in you that, okay, wow, if I go see Brandie, or I call Brandie, or book a session, she's going to help me pinpoint exactly what needs to shift in my reality to bring more peace, harmony, abundance, overflow of just what's ready to come into your life. Because we really only put our own limitations and restrictions on ourselves. And a lot of the times we don't realize that we're doing it. So I've had 2 clients now, multiple more than that I've said that there's old jewelry that needs to be cleansed, because, like, diamonds and other gemstones hold pattern, hold energies, and sometimes they hold dense energy. Sometimes, like, old engagement rings might have what would be perceived as negative energy or a past attachment of some sort. And I was thinking about the one time that I told someone they had a ring they needed to get rid of, and she immediately knew it was a past engagement ring. And, these women want to bring love into their life, and they're holding on to past gifts or jewelry from past relationships, and that can block the flow. And I know not everyone is going to believe in these things, but I've been doing thousands of readings, and I've had hundreds of students over the years where I've seen these kinds of patterns. I recognize and realize that our emotions and our thoughts are incredibly powerful. We are co-creators of our reality. If our emotions can be dense and heavy, and you can feel it when people throw their emotion around, or emotions can be higher vibrational and make you feel that effervescent, bubbly happiness, joy, generosity, love, empathy. And there's the other things that pull us down and weigh us down, such as shame and guilt or hatred, depression, apathy. These things, feelings and emotions, they come and go. And so we can't always take it too seriously because they really truly are just a messenger. And if our body is a map of our consciousness that's highly symbolic, it's simply showing us like what we're doing right or something that we need to shift. And again, so many things that we are afflicted by is not even our own fault because it's society or it's, the foods or the chemicals or the different locations and things that can affect us. And we don't always recognize that, okay, if I do this self-care practice or I take this time out and I focus on what my needs are, then that's going to help bring everything else into coherence. Ultimately, coherency is what helps us manifest more balance in this physical reality. I mentioned on my live earlier that humans see less than 1% of the visible light spectrum, and so there's so much unseen. Something just came in front of my video there too. Like I said, I've been moving plants around, and so I have a couple of these little fruit flies in here from having windows open and everything, and so they want to come onto the screen and say hi as well. So yeah, I really feel very very intentional about how I share what I'm doing with clients because I truly believe that energy medicine and working with vibrational frequencies and even sound, like music heals, right? And so people already recognize that. It's the way of the future, building communities, strengthening from the inside out and gathering together. It creates that momentum to, build that confidence and that courage to take those next steps in each of our lives. So yeah, some other experiences I've had with the holographic reprogramming is that it's not always just physical. Sometimes it's things in your energetic field that are past connections that we have, like old residences or past relationships that can have energetic cords. And if thoughts or things and emotions are magnetic and we're an electromagnetic field, that's what I'm trying to say, is that we can create more density, more angst, more anxiety for ourselves, or we can create more openness, more flow, and really bridge the gap between, where we want to get to in our lives. I'm going to just check this one thing on here. I was going to enable a couple things. I don't really know exactly what the best time of day to go live is, so I'm going to try a few different ones. I've gone live at noon for sound bowls, and sometimes evening is good for readings. But yeah, I'm here to share about the holographic reprogramming, and I'd be so grateful to work with you. If you feel called to reach out, go ahead and ask any questions. You can find more information on my website, www.thebodyoracle.com. And you could also email me at oracleofwny@gmail.com if you have any private questions. Feel free to pop any questions in here in the chat, or say hi if you are catching this live stream right now. I'd be happy to do some Q&A, some mini readings with the aura and the biofield, and give you some exercises that you could do to help balance your energetic field. It doesn't actually tell me who's watching right now, so usually people have to comment so that I know that they're watching. Also, so years and years later, probably about 9 or 10 years later of starting to do these clearings and working with nature intelligence to help with healing and strengthening the biofield, I took a class called Quantum Information Framework, and that really worked with the elements in traditional Chinese medicine and how to like track out those elements to our different organs, and even the emotions like specific to those organs, whether they're positive or heavy or dense. Like I'll give you a couple examples. So the kidneys, they can hold the energy of fear, or they can, oh, I just got a text. They hold the energy of gentleness of the self. The bladder holds the energy of trust or distrust, and we might feel that at different places on the body. But ultimately, if we're in a state of distrust or mistrust with life, it can affect our organs. If we're always, like I said, ruminating on what could go wrong or how we're failing or not succeeding at something that we want to succeed at, like that's a part of the process, and then we want to have these ways to move through that, right? And so the lungs, they can hold on to the energy of inspiration, or when they have heavy dense energy, the lungs hold on to grief, right? And the large intestine knows what to hold on to and what to let go of. So like thoughts can come and go, and both of those, large intestine and lung, are considered metal element in the traditional Chinese medicine 5-element theory. And the bladder and the kidney would be related to the water element. Earlier I was talking about stomach and spleen and how they're connected with the earth element. The spleen can hold on the energy of joy and effervescence for life, and just that sweetness, like to drink deeply from the nectar of life, or bitter, sour thoughts and resentment. I know stomach holds on to the energy of worry when it's out of balance. And so like people that have a lot of worry or anxiety will sometimes have stomach issues. So if someone comes to me with a stomach issue and I already asked and muscle tested them for food allergies and sensitivities, or minerals and vitamins and things like that, I'll always ask, if they're feeling anxious or worried about something. Because typically, if we can clear the anxiety, we can clear the worry, then the body field and the stomach will rebalance itself. And then what are some of the other elements? So we did earth, water, and metal. So also liver and gallbladder are connected with the wood element. And liver is like the seat of the soul, the powerhouse. It can regenerate. Our whole body can regenerate and heal. Even if they say that it can't, we definitely can. And the liver can hold the energy of anger or turmoil and other kind of dense, heavy emotions as well. Gallbladder holds the energy of tolerance for self and others, or it holds the energy of what's been stuffed down and not processed appropriately. I find quite a bit of clients that I've had over the years that have had their gallbladders removed or have had gallbladder issues. I feel like issues with the legs can be connected with bladder, they can be connected with gallbladder, stomach, liver, spleen, because all of those meridians run through the feet and up through the legs and even up into the head as well. And the other element that actually corresponds with more than 2 organs would be the fire element, and that would be the heart, the pericardium, which is the sac that protects the heart, and another system called the triple heater or triple burner, and then the small intestine. Small intestine, when it's healthy, holds the energy of discernment. When it's imbalanced, it's uncertainty or the lack of discernment or lack of clarity. And so it's really important to keep our organs clear and healthy and eat nutrient dense whole foods. It was, 23 years ago now that I started being like obsessed with food labels. I was always wanting to read food label, and yes, I still will have a little junk food and stuff here and there because, like I said, we do live in the reality that we live in. And it's like sometimes we're out at a party and we're going to eat chips or we're going to have pizza. It's just like if we eat a majority of nutrient dense healthy foods with those whole foods that we can recognize the words and that they're fruits and vegetables and grains and things like that, then we're going to feel more balanced in our body than if we're eating a lot of foods that have chemicals like glyphosate or monosodium glutamate, MSG, that can cause headaches in people. Some other food additives that I try to avoid are aspartame, because that is from a GMO bacteria feces, actually. It's pretty gross. And partially hydrogenated oils are a couple carbons away from being plastic. And so we want to avoid certain fats and seed oils that are highly refined and processed. What we really want to ingest are those nutrient dense whole foods. I do recommend olive oil for people that are not sensitive to olive oil, but we just don't want to heat that on like a high heat. That's, more for like dressings and things like that. Please drop any questions you have in the chat box or say hi if you feel like it. I've been talking about tracking out imbalances in our body field and how muscle holds pattern and memory, and as we're able to work through the fascia, work through the crystal matrix of the human body field, we can create more openness and flow for health and harmony within the body. And it's not just physical health, like it's mental health. Hello, Kimberly, so good to see you. Helping with our mental and emotional health. And I feel like it's really important right now more than ever to be able to have the tools to stay balanced and get stable and return that stability to ourselves. Please let me know if you have any questions or a specific topic that you would like me to share about. I came on here just a little while ago and I've been talking about the emotions. That wonderful to see you as well, and how they can get stuck in our organs and the things that we can do to process our emotions. We can make it as easy or as complicated as we like. So one thing that keeps us stable and balanced and just like good overall mental health is making sure that we drink enough water and stay hydrated. And sometimes in the winter, it's harder for me to drink a lot of water. I find myself needing to have soups and teas, and I do like my coffee. Here's some water right now. This water I'm drinking right now is hydrogen-rich water from a medical device, from my Kangen machine, and that extra hydrogen molecule pushes that water, that hydration, directly into the cells. And so working with sound and with light and with frequency to restore that harmonious homeostasis or that harmonious environment. It can be music that you love and that you play, but then also find these different types of frequencies through classical music or binaural beats, or even the Hertz frequency or the solfeggio frequencies can help us to maintain balance, harmony, and clarity within our biofields and our environments, helping to like lower stress from electromagnetic chaos. Because if we're in a good mood and we're hydrated and we're doing our movement and we're doing our self-care, then we're able to continuously move through those challenging times. So I was talking a little bit about the quantum information framework that was an aspect of the holographic reprogramming. And so one of the sheets here that I have, it's like a tracking sheet. I have all of these sheets, and when people work with me, sometimes I give you all kinds of notes to help you see things. But this paper right here, it does show what I was just talking about, the different elements and what organs that they're connected with. You got a big copper bottle of water. Ooh, ginger detox. I had some detox tea the other night, and it had like sarsaparilla and licorice and some other delicious herbs in there too. And I put them in my broth. I put some of the teeth actually in the tea in my broth. So some of the things that we're looking at that we want to reprogram and that we want to help with our healing can be like a yin-yin dynamic external flow. So this is also the picture here of something I'm talking about with different organs and the flow clock of the meridians, and what these different, when these different meridians or organs are affected, what they affect in the body. So basically, the long and large intestine, because they're the container for our spirit, that can also affect our skin and body hair. Stomach and spleen, when they have issues, can affect our soft tissues. Issues with the small intestine and heart can also affect the brain and blood. The bones and joints, nails, teeth, head, hair can be affected by kidney or bladder urinary issues. And this is, something I work with the medical intuitive stuff, because I'm not a medical doctor, but I have been able to track things out within myself and help myself harmonize, and I help others as a holistic practitioner. As a kid, I loved science and art, and I took a lot of science classes when I was a kid and was studying the Mayo Clinic and looking up all different kinds of diseases when I was just like single digits. I wanted to learn about entheogens and culinary herbalism and all of the different things that plants and herbs can do to our body. And it's a lifelong discovery. This for me is over 30 years of self-discovery and really like tapping in and tuning into this kind of stuff, because I knew that there was something about staying connected and close with nature that was just, it drew me in. It made me feel at home in myself to be able to connect. So circulation sucks, or the pericardium, meridian, and triple warmer, issues with that can affect the brain, the blood. And then gallbladder, liver is wood, and that affects the muscles and the tendons. And so I've had a lot of clients with like gallbladder issues, I've said, over the years. And typically people that have like restless leg syndrome or like pain in their legs, or they have a hard time like relaxing, I'll always check and see like which meridians are out of balance. And typically we have to flush and strengthen or sedate and strengthen those particular meridians. I work a lot with clearing heavy, dense energy that we might not know how to do by ourselves, but that's like a part of being an energy worker. That's something that we do, is we help people to like rewrite our story at the mythic level, at the symbolic level, and the energetic level, because when we believe truly in ourselves and we can reshape our beliefs and our thoughts, that changes reality. Anything that I said spark anything for you, Kimberly, that you're interested in hearing more about? Thanks for coming on and hanging out with me a little bit. I was just organizing in here and moving some things around to get ready for Sunday. Tomorrow I'll be at the Goose in Oakfield. The Cornell Cooperative Extension Master Gardeners program is coming, and I'm meeting up with some of my collaborators, and they're going to have like a composting class and a seed basics and a soil class. So it reminds me of my days in like college, even with the conservation of natural resources. And I love working with the land. I love growing food, and I think it's really important that we take the time to invest in learning more about where our food comes from, how to process it, how to take care of ourselves. And I come from a generation, luckily, where I had parents and people around me that were home cooks. And, you know, my mom having these books on herbs. I have honestly, I must have been the colors of the flowers and all the different things in there. I must have been remembering something from deep inside my maternal DNA or my ancestors. You love this whole conversation today. You said, I've learned so much from you about clearing, processing, and digging deeper. Yes. Well, because we have a commitment to truth, and I've been on the hunt for truth. And how do we maneuver and work within the dynamics of reality when we have all of these different things coming in at us all of the time? We have our relationships, we have our beliefs that we've had instilled in us, we have the programming from TV, society, we have all of the chemicals, we have all of the lies that we've been indoctrinated with since eons. And so we're breaking free. We're breaking the chains. We're breaking past curses and lies. Ah, you were smelling your mom's perfume coming through. Yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. I know that happens when I'm connecting with people and or other sensitives or other people that have intuitive and psychic gifts. We like enhance each other. And yeah, there's times when I smell things that are not in the room as well. Like I was doing a reading for someone and I bent over. This person does not smoke at all. I bent over to do the healing and all of a sudden I smelled cigarettes. I'm like, I smell cigarettes. And they're like, oh, it's my mom. She's here right now in spirit. I've smelled a smell too before, like years and years ago, that I had never smelled before. Yeah, it was I'm gonna tell the story. So it was in 2012. I had just read like The Reconnection by Dr. Eric Pearl. I was reading about the medical assistance program in the White Brotherhood and working with nature intelligence. I went to have a reconnective healing because I was fascinated with learning more about energy work and healing in the unseen realm and shamanism and all of that. And so I go to see this like counselor or therapist that just happened to do energy work as well. And I'm laying on her table. She never once touched me like during the session. And like sometimes I do lay hands on people for Reiki or integrated energy therapy, balancing the cranial sacral system. And I'm laying there, and I hadn't had a full experience like this since 2003, the first time I had had Reiki. So fast forward like 9 years later, I'm laying there. She brings in whatever she needed to bring in to facilitate the session. And the next thing I know, this had never happened to me before, so this is going to be really weird. I'm laying there and I wasn't touching myself. I just had my arms down, but my eyebrows started going like this. Like somebody was touching me and moving my eyebrows. And then the next thing I know, I got this like giant smile across my face, like a Cheshire cat or something. I was like, okay, I'm going mad right now. But then I had my eyes closed, and all of a sudden, my pupils started rapid eye moving, and I started seeing all these visions. And I hadn't remembered. Now, I've had dreams before, and yes, I've had visions and all kinds of things, but not to the point where it was like someone else was doing. This was the second time someone else was facilitating something, and I was having all of these memories and flashes before my eyes. So back with the Reiki and the Melchizedek healing in the summer of 2003 in Kaywood on Seneca Lake, I was just having all these beautiful landscapes and things. And then I just started crying. I cried and cried for like 3 days straight. I don't know. I had a huge release. I didn't know what to expect. I had never had energy work before in that way. And so fast forward to, it must have been, December 4th, because it was a month after I got ordained in 2012, doing all this weird stuff with my face, and then I start seeing all of these visions come through. And, some of them looked like beings and things that I've never seen on this planet. And so I didn't really know. I mean, I knew that there was stuff, but I've had experiences and I've been clairaudient since I was a teenager, but I grew up watching all kinds of like sci-fi and horror movies and stuff like that. So sometimes it was hard to tell like what the difference between like a message and an intuition, or something that you're programmed with, or a thought or an imagination or something because of something that you've already experienced in this life. So I started like figuring that stuff out in my later teens and then into my 20s. Around this time I was about 28 years old when I went for that reconnective healing. And some other really interesting things happened around that time. I started hearing other languages and different types of voices communicating with me that ultimately, I use that in my work. So I can help people discover things about themselves through sharing these stories and what's coming up. Because sometimes I'll act out things or speak about things that someone needs to hear to help with them with their healing. I won't necessarily know why I'm telling someone a specific story about something I'm getting from them, but then they tell me and it makes sense to them. So when we're tracking out these energetic imbalances, like I started speaking about in the beginning of this video, it can be in our bones, muscles, and organs. That's a chemical coherency of our cells. It can be in the electromagnetic field in the aura, which is the etheric double of our physical body, the emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. Each one of these layers of our aura also corresponds with an endocrine system gland or a major energy center. In Sanskrit, they call them chakras. But in other traditions, they're called dantian, upper dantian, middle dantian, lower dantian, and these are these like power points, right? So here's a power point, here's a power point, here's a power point. And we need to recognize when we can have this clear vessel, when we can be grounded, hydrated, well-nourished in our own being, there's so much that we can create from that space of balanced stability and from that calibration to our creativity. When I feel stagnant in my creativity, like if I'm not singing or creating or channeling or sharing, I can sometimes start to feel things start to slow down or stagnate. Or if I bring in a bunch of new items, if I go shopping, it's like, you got to clear that, you got to organize it, you got to put it away, because everything does have a place. I mean, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a right and a wrong either by having things having their place. and we're allowed to be creative, and sometimes being creative is messy. So I'm going to check these comments again. We're recognizing the inversion and flipping the script. Yes, the guidance and assistance communication comes throughout 100%. What does your mom's perfume smell like? So now I've shared, I've smelled flowers, I've smelled cigarette smoke. Oh, the smell I was talking about was a cauterizing smell that was something I never smelled before. And there was like a whole theme about ships and like me drowning and going down with a ship, because that came out in like other healing sessions later on, where I had to like release this feeling of drowning, or other people could like see it or feel it in my energy as well. And it took several smells like Shalimar. So what I was envisioning and what I saw in that healing in December of 2012 was multiple different pictures and things of like lifetimes or experiences. And one of them, I was seeing this kind of like octopus type entity energy. And I just smelled this weird smell, and it was like my session was over. She took all of these notes and filed my notes away. And then I told one of my friends is an alchemist and makes flower essences about some of my contact experiences from some of the healings and some of the meditations I had had. And she was like, yeah, you need to meet my sister. And that was when I met my mentor that lived in East Amherst that passed away last year, Susan. And I learned so much about being star-seeded, being connected with source, being connected with the cosmos, the universe, our creator, God, like whatever label you want to put on it. There's something bigger than just who and what we're experiencing here in this human form. Humans only seeing less than 1% of the visible light spectrum. We have to train ourselves to remember that there's more. We have to dream a bigger dream. We have to go bigger. We have to dream that everything is working out in our favor. We have to believe it with such confidence and courage that we shift the fabric of reality. And I can't always do it on my own, so I don't claim to do it on my own. I work with a spiritual team. I've got wonderful friends and colleagues and spiritualists, intuitive psychic healers all over the world, and we are holding the grid, we're holding the light, and I believe in good things coming. I believe in miracles. As much pain as I go through sometimes with different cycles and seasons, those are temporary feelings. The times when I get to actually see miracles unfold before my eyes, like there's no dollar amount you can put on it. There's things that I have experienced and that are mine that, yeah, no dollar could ever buy. And because this experience is temporary and we're only going to be here for a short time, I'm doing my best to share as much of these stories and medicine teachings with as many people that are open to as possible. And I feel a little bit awkward sometimes. I'll be honest. It's been hard for me over these several months to even come online and share, because I go through my own process and sometimes need that introspection and that little bit of hermiting and hibernation. But hey, we just hit up this equinox portal and it's starting to warm up here in the north. And I'm gonna use that to my own advantage to build momentum in my own life and create more well-being for myself. Because there's all kinds of things that can throw us off balance. And so, what does Shalimar sound like, or feel like, and smell like? What's the whole experience of it? It feels like soft and like musky, ambery, maybe. I don't know. I want to feel like like spices, like spiciness or something, like with like a vanilla or cedar. I honestly have never smelled Shalimar, but the name, that's what the essence that I get from it. Amber ode, something of that nature. And you're saying everything is always happening for us, even when we don't recognize it yet. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I'm happy to do some readings too tonight. So I know it's Friday night, and so people might be out or hanging out with their family or watching their show or something, but I would like to know when the best times you feel are to go live and to share this intuitive guidance. But I'm just going to get in front of the camera and start sharing more as much as I'm able. Yeah, so I plan on making this multiple times a week occurrence. I did a lot of lives on TikTok, and that was easier for me. There was always people coming in and having a conversation with me. Sometimes on Facebook, I'm talking to myself, but luckily I've had a couple people come on with this live this evening. We've been doing amazing things together. Thank you, Great Spirit. It smells soft and yes, like amber. I want to say tuberose. Yeah. I love tuberose and vanilla and like lemon together. That is decadence. I love creating aura sprays. This one doesn't have a label on it right now, but this was the last one that I made, and I charged them up at my last weekend with my shamanic apprenticeship, and it was the Condor's Quest. And this one, so most of the ones I do have rose water and or other hydrosols, pure plant extracts, gem and or crystal essences, and flower essences, as well as essential oils. And they're always very light and vibrationally charged. This particular one has frankincense, vetiver, um, spruce, scotch pine, orange blossom hydrosol, lotus, pink lotus. I know I gave you one before you left town. I have 7 of these particular ones left. They have heart healer essences and frequencies for strength in them as well. I usually give an aura spray out with some of my sessions as a gift. The rose frequency session has a custom flower essence remedy. I serve you some Tulsi rose tea. Sometimes you get a little crystal gift, and then when I have these on hand, I give these out as well. I'll spray it again. I actually sprayed this right before I started speaking when I went live tonight. I love the atomizer and the mister, and I just love this rose gold. I like the regular gold ones too, but the rose gold has been really beautiful. That is very symbolic for me because I love working with rose frequencies and rose essences. They have such a high vibration. And we want those high vibrations because that's what's going to help us break free of that heavy, dense energy and those patterns that are keeping us looping and reliving the same experiences over and over again until we break free from it and do something different. Because ultimately, it's on us to change our own habits and patterns. Yay! You are so welcome. I love you too. I went on TikTok real quick to check my messages before I came over here, and like someone came up with a reading, and it was like, yeah, all of these things like written on the screen that were all like little like signposts for me. I was like, I love it when that happens when people do the collective readings. And then whatever comes up in the reading, they put those little lists or those little things on the screen so that people can be like, oh, yes, I see that 777. I'm going to tune into that. Do you have any questions or comments you'd like to share? Are you by the water tonight? So yeah, back to the holographic reprogramming. So everything exactly, bam, 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 bam. Abracadabra, I create that which I speak. Yeah, we have to be very mindful of our word because our word holds the vibration to speak things into existence, and therefore we need to be impeccable with our word, is what Don Miguel Ruiz says in his book, Four Agreements. Speak with integrity. I always try to build people up. I speak to my clients, my students, my family, my friends, like, because they're extensions of us sometimes. Like, yes, we have our own individuality, but the people that are in our lives and the closest people to us, there can sometimes be enmeshment. And I know Kimberly and I both know we have telepathic communication with each other all of the time. And over 32 years ago, I found a book on telepathy and ESP development, and I was like, oh, I found gold. Like, that was the gold for me, was studying metaphysics, studying the nature of reality and the dynamics of working with thought and seeing the different patterns show up. Yeah, Four Agreements are awesome. But we're all still learning. I'm happy to be a student of life. I hear Thorin, my son, he's back with his bike. I don't know if he'll come in or not. So with the holographic reprogramming, we want to look for like patterns in the body field. We want to look for pathogens that can be affecting us. Some patterns in the body field that can affect us are things with our abundance, our money. That's like security, our relationships, because when we can honor one another, we have balanced relationships. When there's like manipulation or coercion or, past trauma or things that we're not able to fully like balance ourselves, that can affect our relationships. Issues can also come up in life purpose, work, career, past issues, even future issues and things with health, which is like connected with the PEMS, and PEMS is related to physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Kim saying, our telepathic communication is strong. I believe we all have this ability. I believe it too. I believe that our pituitary or pineal gland, the pineal gland that's connected with the crown chakra, it used to be more swollen like a grape, and what's happened is like it's shriveled up and people don't access that level of light. We need to be able to have that full spectrum of light and know that our soul ray is shining through our embodiment, and that helps our creativity and our energy shine through. Hello, Thorin. And so these patterns in the body field, we want to look to see if there's blocked energy, misaligned patterns, congested energy, conscripted energy. And then what are the causes of these issues that can come up in our body field? Well, the causes I have listed are like karma or miasms, perceptions, whether they're inverse or direct. Dead issues are like things that have like been there, done that, and so those dead issues actually cause allergies. So if we don't clear out the emotional baggage or the past issues, then we're going to develop sensitivities to foods or to plants or to people, all kinds of things, animals. Identity causes could be like an identity shift or an identity split. Like, okay, if someone's been married for 50 years and then their partner passes away, that's a huge identity split or shift. Because that person is such a part of you. It's like two trees growing together. Not always are they two ships passing in the night, but sometimes they really do root as one. Because when the two flesh become one, it is a real thing. It is a divine union. Trauma, future dimension or future universe, that's a pretty big one for people to kind of expand into. Environmental effects can also cause issues in the body field. That would be like poisons, toxins, infection, immunity, emotions. Even can cause an environmental effect because they're magnetic and they're heavy. And if they're paired with like ruminating thoughts, then you're creating that field of like energy. And like you've heard of poltergeist, right? That's not a ghost. That was created by the mental, emotional discharges of humans. We're that powerful. Internal, external, cellular, energetic. So these are different things that are causes that can cause these patterns in the body field that I'm going to be helping you to track out these imbalances, to shift and clear the crystal matrix. And how do these issues manifest in our body field? They can manifest physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, psychically, allergies with the self or the environment, whether that's inhaled, ingested, contact, or injected, because there's different things that have like spines or stingers or things like that. And then structurally, if I tap into something that's structurally, I always ask where. And then I'm so connected with my team and with the other person's higher self and nature that I'm working with that I'll just see it. They'll point to it or I'll hear it. And my senses are so turned on when I'm reading someone that I get information from all aspects. I get it telepathically, I get it vibrationally, I get it through clairsentience, clear feeling. Sometimes I get it through my claircognizance or clairvoyance. That's that clear knowing, that clear vision. And I've been clairaudient and clairsentient the longest. Clairaudient was like I'm hearing things. I'm just knowing things. I'll hear someone's voice, whisper a word or a phrase or a sentence in my ear, in my vibrational field. Sometimes it feels farther away and sometimes it feels closer. So I guess it depends on who's communicating me and with where that's coming from. I know that sounds strange, but this is how it works for me. This is how I've developed my psychic senses, is knowing that my guides, first and foremost, are my own senses, my own eyes, my own ears, and then the extra sensory perception of how I communicate within those subtle fields and those subtle realities. And then other ways that can manifest as energetic patterns in the body field are mechanically, hormonally, environmentally, and microbially. When something comes up microbially, I'll always ask if the person's frequency or vibration is below 60 megahertz. If it's below 60 megahertz, that's definitely telling me to check for viruses, fungi, bacteria, protozoa, parasites. And I have an entire binder right here that lists all of the foods that are the most common sensitivities, and then I have the whole entire like A&P, so I can read through metabolic, organelle, epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue, nerve tissue. You give me permission to connect to your energetic field. I don't care if you're in Europe, because I have a client in Paris and she travels around the world, or if you're in India or if you're in South America. Once you give me permission to connect with you, whether I've met you or not, I can tap into your energy field when you give me permission, anytime, anywhere, any place, any space, and we can shift the energy together. And that's if I have permission from you. But then I also ask my team and or your ancestors, can I, should I, is there any reason why I shouldn't read the energy? So we also look at the teeth, the salivary glands, stomach, pancreas, small intestine, large intestine, liver, kidney, bladder, pineal, pituitary, thyroid, adrenals, cardiovascular, lungs, brain, spinal cord, neurons, lymphatic, thymus, spleen, structural, male reproduction, female reproductive, and the skin, eyes, ears, and blood cells. So if I really want to go deep with someone and I want to find out where the heavy metals are stored in your body, like I said, you give me permission and I can track your organs. I can tell you what kind of heavy metals there are, and I can tell you if you're lacking any vitamins or minerals just with a simple muscle test. You can do it for yourself. And I teach that in my mentoring programs and in my apprenticeships. You learn how to read your body as the oracle. You learn how to tap into your own level of discernment. You learn your yes and no. And there's times where I think I might like something and it's something I've ate all along, and it might be bad and I might not know consciously. I put it in my mouth. I will spit it or cough it out sometimes without knowing. Like I'll have huge reactions to things. If someone comes on my live or if I'm working with someone, that's why I have them fill out paperwork and stuff before I get on a call or a video with them, because I want to find out if there's anything in their field that's going to affect me potentially in an unsavory or non-beneficial way. And so I rarely say no to people when I work with people, but every once in a while I have to. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not going to just do what people want. I'm not always going to sit there and talk to them about like their affairs and things like that. That's one thing that came up years and years ago, is sometimes people would want love readings, and they'd want to know about their soulmates and things like that. And yeah, I don't want to have those entanglements and things like that. And so I pick and choose the people that I want to work with. Now, if there is those kinds of things like infidelity in relationships, then yeah, we need to clear those cords and attachments. And there's a natural, healthy level of attraction that people can have to one another, obviously. But when there's things involved with like specifically like hurting each other and stuff like that, that's one thing I just there's other people to work with those kind of things. It's like I would rather help focus on what you're creating now, what you're building now, and from a clean slate. And that's why earlier in the message in this live I was talking about the couple clients, the women that I had that were trying to find love, or they were experiencing pain or sickness. And it came up when I was tracking imbalances in their field that they had some jewelry that they were not meant to have. And 2 of the times it was old engagement rings or old wedding rings. I think they were both engagement rings that time. There was another time that I said it was earrings for someone, and she's like, oh, I just lost one of the earrings of this one. I'm like, yep, it's that one. I'm like, just get rid of the other one or donate it or something. I'm like, you don't need that. And these people don't tell me. Like, I find a way to do the readings where the things that I'm sharing spark those things within you, where you get the validation, you get the truth. Because I'm not going to feed into anything or say anything or just make up a story about something just to give someone a reading. I'm here to do real grid work. I'm here to really, really harmonize with the planet and the etheric template for the highest consciousness available to us at any given moment. And I want to bring through that and have that level of harmonization and joy that can come through me. Because when I'm working with the right people, I feel it. There'll be tears streaming down my face in awe of the glory and the beauty of that person's soul and what they're bringing to this planet, to this life. And I get to work with some of the most magical, bright people and children and families and leaders and health practitioners and other creators, creatives, artisans, and healers. And we get to do it together. It's co-creative. It's a partnership. Yes, I'm a guide. Yes, I have my expertise and my skills, but you have to do the follow-up. There's homework. There's always going to be something that's going to help you keep the momentum going. Like, I'm not creating patience. Like, I have patience, but I'm not creating patience with a T, patience. You can come to me when you need me, but I prefer that you be self-empowered. And when we need to work on, we work on something. So whenever you feel guided to reach out, I've had clients that have worked with me for 10 years. So I might not hear from one of them for 7 years. I might work with them once a month for a while or once a week for a period of time, and then I might not hear from them for a year, and then they just might need a tune-up. So there's so many different levels that people can come in and work with me. You can come in for energy work. You can come in for psychic and intuitive readings. You can book for workshops, classes, transformational experiences like retreats where I facilitate retreats and teach myself. Or I facilitate and co-facilitate retreats with other healthcare practitioners, holistic providers, energy healers, and just other people that, you know, want to help. Like I've hired Epicurean chef before, or I've hired someone to, you know, do different things to help support that event. You can come to me through mentorship and apprentice with me. I have some openings for my apprenticeship, and you can get a free discovery call with me. All you have to do is fill out the application. Some of the questions ask what level of investment you're ready to make, because I'm not going to be someone that's going to tell you to put it on your credit card. I want you to be able to afford it and not spend outside your means, to be able to get the teaching and the healing and everything that is necessary to move forward. Yes, I will like let people use credit cards to pay if they want, but typically, you know, people need to understand that yes, there is a cost for things, there is an investment for things, but that should never be something that like puts it all out of reach per se. Like there's ways to work with me where I have passed digital assets and courses that you can check out, or so many different other videos or sharings that you can find information if you need. There's a lot of resources, and we have a beautiful free community events here the last Sunday of the month for the next 4 months in a row. Open house. I'll be playing crystal singing bowls, and we have some other vendors, healers, and crafters coming in for each of these different events. These events are fully family friendly. I might need to go get some water soon. I'm feeling a little parched. Completely family friendly. We always have area for kids to do watercolor markers or